It has been over a decade since Grand Theft Auto 5 shattered industry records, becoming one of the most profitable entertainment products in human history. For 12 long years, a single question echoed across the internet with increasing desperation. Where is GTA 6? To understand why Rockstar Games took over a generation to deliver a sequel, we have to look behind the curtain of an industry that changed completely while we were waiting. This is the story of how unprecedented success, a cultural shift, internal upheaval, and a relentless pursuit of perfection created the longest developmental gap in gaming history. In September 2013, Grand Theft Auto 5 hit store shelves. Within just 3 days, it generated $1 billion in revenue. It was a monumental achievement for Dan and Sam Houser, the visionary brothers who built Rockstar Games into a cultural juggernaut. At the time, fans naturally assumed a sequel would follow the usual 5-year timeline. We expected GTA 6 around 2018. But Rockstar had unknowingly built a beautiful monster that would stall their own timeline. GTA Online initially launched as a buggy, unstable addition to the main game. GTA Online quickly mutated into an absolute cash cow. Armed with microtransactions called shark cards, players spent hundreds of millions of dollars annually to buy virtual supercars, underground bunkers, and luxury yachts. The game wasn't just a product anymore. It was a permanent service. Rockstar's parent company, Take-Two Interactive, watched as a game released in 2013 continued to top financial charts in 2015, 2017, and 2019. From a purely corporate perspective, there was zero urgency to rush a sequel. Why spend hundreds of millions of dollars risking a new release when your decade-old game is still printing money like a central bank? The immense, unyielding profitability of GTA Online bought Rockstar the most valuable and dangerous luxury in the entertainment world: unlimited time. While GTA Online kept the lights on and the coffers full, Rockstar's main development force wasn't sitting idle. They were pouring every ounce of their collective souls into another project, one that would fundamentally reframe how the studio approached game design. That project was Red Dead Redemption 2, released in 2018. Red Dead Redemption 2 was a masterpiece of hyperrealism. It featured dynamically growing horsehair, characters who remembered your past interactions, and an ecosystem so complex it felt alive. But achieving that level of detail required an unprecedented mobilization of workforce. Rockstar operating philosophy at the time dictated that every single one of its global studios, from San Diego and New York to Edinburgh and India, merge into a single, massive collaborative entity. For nearly 5 years, almost every developer at Rockstar Games was working on the Western epic. Full-scale, intensive development on GTA 6 could not physically begin until the cowboy dust had settled. Red Dead 2 proved that Rockstar's next generation of games would require double the time, double the staff, and an astronomical amount of effort compared to anything they had built before. When the studio finally shifted its gaze back to the neon streets of Vice City, they ran headfirst into a humanitarian crisis. In early 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic ground the world to a halt. For an industry built on digital tech, you might think working from home would be simple. For Rockstar, it was a nightmare. A game like Grand Theft Auto relies heavily on motion capture. Hundreds of actors, stunt coordinators, and directors must assemble in high-tech studios to record thousands of hours of custom animations, cinematic cutscenes, and casual pedestrian behavior. The pandemic halted motion capture for months. Furthermore, Rockstar's strict data security protocols meant that transferring massive, highly confidential game builds to developers' home computers was a logistical minefield. The pandemic didn't just slow development down, it completely fractured the collaborative pipeline of the studio for nearly 2 years. As the world slowly adjusted to a new normal, Rockstar itself began to change from within. For decades, the studio was notorious for its intense crunch culture. Reports emerged around the launch of Red Dead 2 that developers were working 100-hour weeks, leading to severe burnout, broken marriages, and widespread exhaustion. Recognizing that this model was unsustainable, Rockstar management instituted a massive cultural overhaul. They overhauled schedules, ousted toxic managers, offered flexible working arrangements, and prioritized employee mental health. While this was a massive victory for the human beings making the game, a kinder, healthier workplace naturally meant a slower, more deliberate development pace. The days of sacrificing human lives to hit an aggressive release date were over simultaneously. The creative soul of the company was shifting. In 2020, Dan Houser, the co-founder and head writer responsible for the satirical, biting tone of almost every GTA game, officially left the company. Shortly after, influential producer Leslie Benzies and legendary radio writer Laszlo Jones departed as well. Rockstar had lost its core creative triumvirate. The studio had to reinvent its writing process and decide how a Grand Theft Auto game should look and feel in a deeply divided modern world that often felt impossible to satirize. Then came September 2022. In the middle of a quiet Sunday night, the gaming world experienced a seismic shock. A hacker breached Rockstar's internal Slack servers and leaked over 90 videos of early, unfinished GTA 6 gameplay. It was the largest, most devastating leak in entertainment history. The public saw raw, unpolished footage of a female protagonist running through unfinished test environments with developer code plastered across the screen. The internet erupted in chaotic debate. While the leak confirmed the game was actively being worked on, it was a crushing psychological blow to the development team. Years of secretive, hard work were stripped bare and criticized out of context. Rockstar was forced to pivot. They had to spend valuable time and resources auditing their cybersecurity, dealing with legal ramifications, and reassuring nervous investors. While Rockstar officially stated the leak wouldn't delay development, the internal disruption and heightened security measures added yet another layer of complexity to an already strained production pipeline. The final piece of the puzzle is the staggering evolution of technology. Rockstar Games does not use standard, off-the-shelf game software. They build their own proprietary engine, known as Rage, the Rockstar Advanced Game Engine. For GTA 6, they weren't just building a map, they were building a simulation. They targeted unprecedented levels of graphical fidelity, advanced artificial intelligence for thousands of unique pedestrians, realistic water physics, and a fully interactive world that would push the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X to their absolute physical limits. Building tools that can handle a simulation of that scale takes years of trial, error, and technological breakthroughs. When the first official trailer dropped in December 2023, the world finally understood what took so long. The sheer density of the crowds, the lighting, the realism of the fictional state of Leonida. It was clear that this wasn't just another video game. It was a generation-defining piece of software. Ultimately, GTA 6 took over a decade because the gaming landscape evolved. It survived the overwhelming financial success of its predecessor, a total restructuring of Rockstar's internal work culture, the departure of its founding creative minds, a global pandemic, and a historic corporate hack. Rockstar Games realized that they didn't just need to make a great sequel. They had to make a game that could survive, entertain, and generate revenue for another 10 or 15 years in the future. In an industry that often rushes incomplete products to market, Rockstar chose to wait. They chose to endure the memes, the pressure, and the silence to ensure that when we finally stepped back into the neon glow of Vice City, it would be nothing short of historic.